My name is Laurie, and I have MS. I say this like someone at an AA meeting because I know there are a lot of us lurking in the shadows hoping to keep our diagnoses secret. MS is not a very sexy disease. When Robert Redford purchased the movie rights to John Hassler's book, The Love Hunter, Redford asked Hassler if for the movie version of his story he could give the main character something other than MS. Something not so unpleasant. To his credit, Hassler refused. In 2007, my first book, a memoir called Petal Pusher, was published. It's primarily about the misadventures of the all-women rock band that I founded in the late 80s. But truth be told, I would never have chased my dream of forming this band had I not been diagnosed with MS at the age of 24. I'm going to read to you from my memoir, my story. My girlfriends and I strutted down the sidewalk of Chicago's Wrigleyville neighborhood, dressed in our rock show finest, various decades of vintage dresses layered with black tights and Jansen-wear mohair sweaters reeking of mothballs. We were charming. It was a 2-block walk from our apartment to their apartment to the Cabaret Metro. We were on our way to see one of our favorite bands. As always, we were laughing and talking a little too loud. It was a snowy, slushy night on the street corner in front of Wrigley Field. The street lights beamed down on us like spotlights. I was completely happy. But then something went wrong. Really wrong. What? I was abruptly halted. Stuck. My foot wouldn't go. I couldn't lift my leg or my foot to take my next step. Sensation and liberty of motion were gone on the left side of my body. Half of me was erased. It was like an invisible god stole my good side, or an enemy with a voodoo doll just cut me in half. I don't have the apt words to describe it. Something like inner immediate numbing shock, or maybe silent hysteria coupled with painless paralysis. This happened with no warning, without a single sensation. My left leg was gone, but still there. I couldn't feel my left hand either. I was neither in my head nor in my body. I transformed into a calm crisis counselor, observing myself from afar, from right there. You guys, they're gabbing a couple of steps ahead of me. They stopped, turned around, their broad smiles framed by red lips. I'm in trouble, I sort of stuttered. I'm embarrassed. I can't move. My speech was even and quizzical. I didn't sound like myself. The statement I made claiming spontaneous paralysis was way out of our range. I couldn't feel or move my left leg or hand, and I like to joke around a lot, but something in my face, probably a look of confusion and fear, made my girlfriends double back. They could tell by my small foreign voice that I wasn't kidding, and I wished I were kidding because all of a sudden I felt like a burden. In a matter of seconds, I'd become someone who needs help. And neediness, we would all agree, was most unattractive. My God, what should we do? What do you want to do? My friends gather around me with concern, fearful with knitted brows and narrowed eyes. Our entire tone, our who gives a damn, take nothing seriously stance had been badly shaken. Their black-gloved hands covered my shoulders and hands. This love, not my predicament, made me feel like crying. They surrounded me like a leather and hair cocoon to protect me from another strike from the invisible force that attacked me. Let's go back to your apartment, I said. I'll call my mom in the morning and take the bus back home to Madison. I'll need some help, though. Sorry. Update. I was a burden. Though no one was saying so, we were all annoyed by this inconvenience, this thing thrust into our freewheeling lives, this situation, this menace. With a girlfriend on each arm, I was escorted back to their apartment, dragging my lame foot through the freshly fallen snow. My black lace-up boots looked like special shoes made for people with problems. Their apartment was on the 3rd floor in a brick house cut up into 6 dwellings on Roscoe Street. I limped up the stairs with what felt like an anvil hanging from my hip. When not working, legs are surprisingly heavy. Are you sure you don't want to call your mom or go to an emergency room, they said. I was so sure. I was in no mood to switch gears and freak out. I wasn't ready to go home and deal with this. Wherever I was going next would not be offering me cold beer. I knew somehow that I was headed for pills dispensed in tiny white Dixie cups that were brought in on stainless steel trays, and bedpans. A deep sense of regret came over me, and I wish this hadn't happened, sadness. My situation was making me far more serious than I cared to be, ever. So after an uncomfortable night in my girlfriend's apartment, my friend Steph escorted me on the L, shoved me onto the Alco bus, and I went on the bus ride home to Madison, Wisconsin, where my mother was waiting to pick me up at the Memorial Union on the University of Wisconsin campus.